Welcome to Between State Lines.
So, welcome back to Between State Lines, episode 19. We are one away from 20.
Wow. Happened so fast.
It happened so fast. And yesterday was Halloween, of course, and we had two episodes come out. Uh, Lane, obviously, that episode with her and her ghost stories, which um, audience, I did miss part of that because of the my daughter got sick with the stomach flu and gave it to all of us, but I listened to all of it and uh, I liked what I heard, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, we had a great
Um,
time.
and then we had a ghost hunter on for the next episode, which Steph wasn't here for that. The ghost hunter was an interesting guy. I feel like a lot of what he said was cool, and a lot of what he said I was like, I don't know if I can get on board with this stuff. Like he was teaching us how to cover our third eye if we don't want to see a ghost by like tapping our forehead. And I was like, okay, I that makes sense.
Somebody told me recently that if you're hungry and you don't want to be, you can tap your forehead 12 times. So I guess same thing.
He didn't give a number, so I wonder if it's like 12 things too. Like it's the third eye, it controls your hunger, controls your ability to see ghosts.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, because it's like my appetite's been crazy lately. And she's like, tap on your head 12 times. And then it was supposed to be like 12 times and then wait 2 minutes. And if you're still hungry, do it again. So, like, I guess it doesn't always work.
You're just sitting in your car for an hour, being like, please go away.
I really want a mozzarella stick. No, I don't. No, I don't.
How was your Halloween, by the way?
Oh, it was good. It was good. We went to the local mall and then to a high school. Tried to keep it indoors because it's like really rainy, and then met up with my best friend's family and took the kids around the neighborhood. And this one house had full size candy bars and Pokemon cards.
Whoa,
They
that
were a favorite,
is even Pokemon cards, man. I wish that I had thought of that. Damn it.
right? Yeah, no, the kids liked it so much that they went around the cul-de-sac and tried to go again. And we're like, no, you can't do that.
Were there a lot of people out last night besides you guys?
Yeah, yeah. Surprisingly, because it was like really rainy, really rainy at the mall and the local high school. The local high school was like, whew, it was getting hot in there. There were so many people, but yeah, the mall was. I think they started running out of candy like the first hour.
Damn.
And it was supposed to be
Yeah,
like 6 hours long.
we I've seen a lot of people in my neighborhood posting that there's like in the county posting that there's a shortage of trick or treaters this year, and definitely like I bought like full size candy bars, which again I'm so bummed I didn't think about doing the Pokemon cards too. Um,
And the coolest house in the
and we
block.
had yeah, it would have been the coolest house in the block. You only had like maybe 6, 7, or 8 trick or treaters all night, and
Yeah.
I ended up giving like one of the girls like 5 candy bars. Like, just take 5 and give your parents 2. I was like, I don't care. Just
That's so
I don't
nice.
need I don't need all these candy bars. But and then we went around trick or treating with our daughter, and we hit like 10 houses that had the lights on, and only 2 answered. And I was like, that's a
Oh,
bummer.
that is a bummer. I'm house sitting right now, and I forgot to turn the porch lights off there. So I'm hoping that because we like tried to control it from a little app that they have. I was hoping that we got it all off, but I honestly meant to go by there today to be like, okay, yes, they were off, or wow, I suck. But the ones at our house, we had like three big groups that came through. My uncle was there passing out the candy. I had like a huge bucket. And I was like, wow, we went through a lot of candy. There was just like some dum dums left over. And he was like, oh, I was telling people to like grab a handful. I think at one point I was telling the kids like grab five each. And it was fun learning or having them like learn to count to five. I loved it. But yeah, so
Um,
so got left with just a bunch of dum dums at our house, but the kids scored.
have you ever had the candy, I think it's called Bit of Honey?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you a fan of it? Because I do not like it. It's not very good.
It's not great candy. I mean, I'll eat any sugar. There's not a lot of sugar. I would be like, no. But yeah, I wouldn't buy it if it was like one of those free bowls at like restaurants that they have sometimes used to have out, where it like had like the strawberry and just like whatever hard candies, and then like some bit of honey. Whatever. I could use it right now because I've been getting over a cold, but yeah, I wouldn't buy that.
Yeah, because we, took our daughter to the zoo to do what they call it Boo at the Zoo, and,
That's cute.
so basically trick-or-treating there, and every single vendor there's probably like 20 or 30 vendors that had tables, and, every single vendor had, like, a crap ton of Bit of Honey, and I was like
Nobody wanted it.
I was like, yeah, like, this isn't nobody this is clear the can no one wants it, and they were, like, giving handfuls out, so, like, our daughter got, like, a whole bucket full of it. I'm like, "Man, these aren't very good." I tried to pawn them off on the trick-or-treaters, but no one came last night, so I couldn't even do that.
To just have a lot of bit of honey. You have a lot of honey.
I have a lot of honey, I could just,
I wonder if
grind it
there's
up,
something you
and
could make with that.
I'm sure you could make, like, brownies. I know your son loves brownies, so I can make some brownies and send it your way.
I just can't understand. Like, I've even made cream cheese brownies so many times, and they're amazing. And he won't even try them. He just looks at them and he's like, "No, thank you." I'm like, "Okay, well, thanks for being polite, I guess. If you tried it, you would like it. You like everything that's involved in this, but it's fine. It's fine." I think it's just like he's like brown, black loaf of bread. Like, what do you want?
It's okay, it's like a dense loaf of bread. I get the bread, but, like, it's dense as hell, and it's delicious.
Yeah,
One
but
of
he has a
the
bagel for breakfast most mornings. Like, what's the deal?
I don't know.
Could all the time. I don't understand. I don't understand. It's all just different variations of the same ingredients you like.
Kids are so weird. Speaking of being weird, so obviously I am alone this weekend with my daughter, and last night she woke up at like 4 in the morning, I think, and she was doing this like not like a moan, but like a complaining sound effect kind of thing, where something is bothering her, and she kept saying, "No, no, no." Like, it wasn't like
No,
a playful no, it was like, "No." And I was, like, watching her on the monitor, I'm like, who are you talking to, girl?" I
was she dreaming?
don't know, she was standing up, though, and I went in there and picked her up, and, like, she was wide awake, so either she was dreaming and, like, had, like, a night terror and, like, woke up when I came in, opened the door, or she was awake the whole time.
It sounds, yeah, she sounds like she's awake. I can't imagine. Night terrors normally go a different route, but my daughter sometimes she'll cry in her sleep, and then sometimes she giggles in her sleep, and it's like really cute but also super scary. So I was thinking maybe along those lines, cuz yeah, she's who is she talking to? Can you tell what way she's looking at?
Yeah, she was looking at the, like towards, like, the corner of the room, so that she's, like, 2 corners, one has the chair we rock her down in, and one has, like, a bookcase.
I
And she's
hate
looking
that.
towards the bookcase. I hate that too. I hate it so much. Like, at least she wasn't, like, reaching to get picked up where it's, like, confirmation there was somebody there.
No, she doesn't want to be picked up. Stranger danger. No. I like that, but
No.
no.
Ah, well, that was weird. Hopefully, that doesn't happen tonight. And, oh, I just saw something on the news. In unrelated stupid news, so, the Yankees lost the World Series, obviously, but Freddie Freeman, he hit, like I think he hit 6 straight home runs in the World Series, or 6 games straight with home run, which was a World Series record. And the 6th home run hit was at Yankee Stadium, and the fan that caught it knew found out it was this really, like, record baseball. he threw it back on the field because it was a Dodger home run. It's worth $100,000, and he just threw it away. And they asked him afterwards, like, "I don't care. I don't want the money." I was like, "You just stupid? Like, what the hell?"
So he was that much of a Yankee fan that he threw. Okay, I had to make sure I understood what was going on. Wow, dedication to the sport. Dedication. Not me. Couldn't be me.
No,
No, that I would do
I
that for money. I would do that. I'd probably have a couple people beat me up in the stands, but you know what? It's fine.
I love that Lane enjoyed our guest question. I think our new guests are gonna get asked that question, like, "Would you chop your hand off for?" I'll keep decreasing it. It was 500 million was a little generous, but like
That was
ten
really
million
generous. I
maybe.
was like, obviously, I think that the 500,000, like, if you factor in how much your insurance coverage is, and I think that you severely underestimate like how much hand doctors are. They're expensive.
we should get a we should get a hand surgeon on here as a guest. But like, hey, look. So if I were to do this,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that we could Google it. You want me to Google it? How much does it cost to reattach your hand?
without insurance, because I'm sure it'll get denied right away, immediately.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up. You can keep going though.
Hmm. So, today we're gonna talk about a old story from the 50s, which is creepy. Happened in Russia, creepy as hell. And I think you'll enjoy it. And we're gonna start by just telling the backstory, and then we'll get into the actual creepy parts of the story, so you can look forward to that. It's called the Dyatlov Pass incident, which uh, just to our audience, a lot of these names are not a lot. All of these names are Russian, so I am probably gonna butcher every single one of these names. So don't come at me in the comments. Um, so its base character is Igor Dyatlov, who was a tinkerer, an inventor, and a devotee of the wilderness. He was born in 1936 near Sverdlovsk and built radios and loved camping as a kid. When the Soviet Union launched Sputnik in '57, this really kicked off a period of nationwide love for their country. And Igor really wanted to capitalize on this newfound love for his country and do something that he never did before and no one had done in his country before or really in the world. So he decided that he wanted to go on this crazy long, ridiculous 16-day cross country ski trip in the Urals, which is the north and south mountain range that divides Western Russia from Siberia. Um, I believe it was something like 200 miles in total he was going to ski across in a 16-day period. Um, so he submitted his request to the UPI Sports Club, who approved it pretty much immediately. And his itinerary laid forward 350 miles north of Sverdlovsk in the traditional territory of the Mansi, which were an indigenous people. Not sure if they still exist, but they were an indigenous people at the time. Um, so his group wasn't going to be just him, it was going to be him and some friends, would go across 200 miles on a route that no Russian, as far as anyone had known, had taken before. The mountains were gentle and rounded, but the terrain was or the temperatures were pretty cold, and there was a lot of snow and high wind. So, you know, high elevation and just absolute crap ton of cold weather and snow.
Sounds
And
awful.
obviously, right? And it's Russia, so you got like those sub-zero temperatures. So no, thank you.
Yeah, nothing.
Igor recruited his classmate Zina Kolmogora and 7 other fellow students and recent graduates, um, who were among the elite of Soviet youth and all highly experienced winter campers and cross-country skiers. One was Igor's close friend, Georgie, who had graduated from UPI 2 years before and worked as an engineer at the Mayak nuclear complex in the then secret town of Chelyabinsk 40. Two other recent graduates were Rustam Slobodin and Nikolai Thibault Briganals. Guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I choose stories with like these really ridiculous names.
You should give them
But I,
nicknames.
I should. I might just call them by their first names.
That's fair.
They're so much easier. Sorry if you're Russian. We actually do have, side note, we have like one person in Russia who listens to our podcast. We are in
I'm so sorry
Russia,
for that one person.
right? But if you are that one person, please message us, and tell us how to pronounce this.
Please and thank you.
If you're, please and thank you. If you're not a bot, that is.
Fair.
Okay, back to what I was saying. Let's see. Other students included Yuri Yundin, Yuri Doroshenko, and Alexander Kolotov. The youngest of the group at 20 was Lydia Dubinina, an economics major and track athlete, and an ardent communist who wore long blonde hair and braids tied with silk ribbons. On a previous outing, she had been accidentally shot by a hunter and survived the 50-mile journey back to civilization.
Okay, I was like, and she wanted to go on another adventure?
Right? She wanted to do it again? Okay. So a couple of days before the group set off to do their journey, the UPI administration unexpectedly added a new member who was much older and largely unknown to the entire group. His name was Semyon Stilatov, a 37-year-old veteran of the Second World War, who had an old-fashioned mustache, stainless steel crowns on his teeth, and tattoos. So that right there, before we go on, is a red flag to me. I have my hand-picked group, and then a random guy gets added on who's much older than us and sounds kind of sketchy to me.
Well, and like these details. Like the details. I'm like, interesting.
Yeah.
What was it? Stainless steel teeth?
Stainless steel crowns on his teeth and tattoos.
And tattoos. Ooh, yeah. And yeah, random old guy. So we have to take care of him on the adventure across the cold wilderness. I
Come on,
don't think
Grandpa.
this team is here to keep me alive, I'm pretty sure. So don't know what he's doing here.
So last night, one of our trick-or-treaters, I thought it was like a teenager, and he reached into the bag of or the bowl of candy, and his whole arm was like tatted up, like he was like probably a 35-year-old man. And I was like, well, I guess that's cool.
Thanks. I went trick or treating with my kids, and I had a bucket for my friend's daughter's 15, and she was handing out candy, and she's just so cute, but she was handing out candy, and so I was like, I'll see what I can get. Like the houses that just had the bowl out, like I got a piece of candy for her, and then random houses that were kind enough, yeah. But then I did give it to a grandparent, and she went around and she's like, "This is for my granddaughter. This is for my granddaughter." And she scored. She's way better at it than I was. I was like nonchalant, like okay, because yeah, it does feel weird being
Go,
a 35-year-old.
go, Grandma, go, Grandma.
Yeah, I did have a mask on, so I was hoping people wouldn't notice how tired I was, but whatever.
Okay, so the the party left by train on January 23rd, with several of them avoiding buying tickets by hiding under the train seats. They were in high spirits, so high that on a layover between trains, Krivonchenko was briefly detained by police for playing his mandolin and pretending to panhandle in the train station. So So weird detail, but we know this because they had a journal that was found, and they also had 5 cameras with them and took pictures, which pretty much showed a happy group of people getting ready to go on the most fun adventure of their life, or so it was supposed to be, as far as it went. So
With this
after
random
two,
older guy, which I'm now
with a
realizing with
random,
trick or treating, that was me. I was there. Okay.
like, oh, this old lady gotta go with us, Grandma. How was your hip?
Yeah. I was just slowing them down, like, don't get in the street, guys. Yeah. Anyways,
You were the helpful grandma. So
hopefully that
after
guy was.
2 days, right, after 2 days on the train, they reached Ivdel, a remote town with a Stalin-era prison camp that, at that point, mostly held criminals. It was basically a town that was just all of criminals. And from there, they traveled by another day by bus, and then in the back of a woodcutter's truck, and finally by ski, guided by a horse-drawn sleigh. They slept in an abandoned logging camp called Second Northern. Um, and there, Yuri, there's 2 Yuris. So Yuri Yundin had a flare up of sciatica that forced him out of the trip. He had to go turn around and go home because he was in too much pain. So,
Wow.
which to me, red flag.
Yeah. Your sciatica is slowing you down? Why did we invite you on this trip? You, I don't know. Maybe everybody has ailments. What period was this at?
This is in the 50s.
Oh,
So,
okay. It wasn't all that long ago, really.
no. I mean,
Lifetime.
sciatica is awful. I'll give him that. But, like, I feel like he would have had symptoms before this point. We went on this, like, long ass journey. It looks like it's been like 4.5 days, and then he decided to go, oh, I gotta go back now. Like, okay, cool.
Which,
Um,
if you are turning around at that point, are you going back by yourself?
yeah, that whole journey, F that.
Four and a half days?
I'll just
Yeah.
go. I'll just make you guys carry me.
We all stop now.
Okay, so the next day he turned back while the remaining 9 set off towards the mountains. The plan was to end up at the tiny village of Vizhai around February 12th and telegram the UPI Sports Club they had arrived safely. Of course, that telegram never came. So at first, the sports club assumed the group had been held up. There have been reports of a heavy snowstorm in the mountains, but after several days passed, families of the group members began placing frantic calls to the university and the local bureau of the Communist Party. And on the 20th of February, so 8 days after they were supposed to telegram in, they launched a search party. Um, Actually, several search parties. Student volunteers from the UPI, prison guards from the Ivdel camp, um, Mansi hunters, so that the indigenous people actually came in and helped, local police, and the military deployed planes and helicopters. On February 25th, the students found ski tracks, and on the next day, they discovered the skier's tent. Above the tree line on a remote mountain that Soviet officials referred to as Height of 1079, and that the Mansi called Dead Mountain.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
in the tent, there was nobody.
Okay. But they were on Dead Mountain.
They were on Dead Mountain, and
Were they scheduled
this
to
is
go that way?
it was part of their itinerary,
Mm.
like in the path. Um, and this is now 13 days after they were supposed to check in. So 2 weeks after they were supposed to check in, their tent was just found with no one inside. Um, the tent was partially collapsed and largely buried in snow. After digging it out, the search party saw the tent appeared to have been deliberately slashed in several places. Yet inside, everything was neat and orderly. The skiers' boots, axes, and other equipment were arranged on either side of the door. Food was laid out, as if it was about to be eaten. There was a stack of wood for a heating stove and clothes, cameras, and journals. About 100 feet downhill, the search party found very distinct footprints of 8 or 9 people who appeared to be walking, not running, towards the tree line. Almost all the prints were of stock-hinged feet, some even bare. One person appeared to be wearing a single ski boot, and quote, some of the prints indicate that the person was either barefoot or in socks because you could see the toes, the toe prints. A searcher later testified. The party followed the prints downhill for 600 to 700 yards until they vanished near the tree line. The next morning, searchers found the bodies of mandolin player Krivonchenko and the student Doroshenko under a tall cedar tree at the edge of the forest. They were lying next to a dead fire, wearing only underwear. 12 to 15 feet up the tree were some recently broken branches, and on the trunk, bits of skin and torn clothes were found. Later that day, a search party discovered the bodies of Dyatlov and Kolmogora. Both were farther up the slope and in the direction of the tent, their fists tightly clenched. Okay, so I'm going to pause right there. We have found 4 bodies so far. 2 were under a tree, laying next to a dead fire, wearing only underwear. And then 2
Underneath
more.
a tree that had bits of skin.
They apparently had been trying to climb the tree, I'm guessing, fell, and then died at some point.
They went in their underwear. But then how come the footprints didn't indicate that they were like running?
That's the mystery. That's like, and it gets crazier. But
Okay.
like that's it. I mean, right now it's pretty wild, but it gets pretty crazy. The 4 bodies were autopsied while they searched for the other remaining 5. And the medical examiner noticed a bunch of bizarre features. Krivonchenko had blackened fingers and 3rd-degree burns on a shin and a foot. Inside his mouth was a chunk of flesh he had bitten off his right hand. Doronchenko's body had burned hair on the side of the head and a charred sock. All the bodies were covered in bruises, abrasions, scratches, and cuts, as was a 5th body they found, which was the recent graduate Slobodabin. That's a
I'm
that's a
sorry.
character from Bluey.
Slobodobin. Okay.
Okay, so Slobodin. I think that's a character in Bluey too. Slabadaba. Okay. Sorry, Russians. I just completely butchered and then laughed at your name, but
You laughed at what you made up because that wasn't even part of it.
Okay, like Dyatlov and Kolmogora, he was on the slope leading back to the tent with a sock on one foot and a felt booty on the other. His autopsy noted a minor fracture to his skull. At this point, a homicide investigation was underway. Toxicology tests were done, witness testimony was taken, diagrams and maps made of the scene, evidence gathered, and forensically analyzed. The tent and its contents were helicoptered out of the mountains and set up again inside a police station. This led to a key discovery. A seamstress who came to the station to do a uniform fitting happened to notice that the slashes in the tent had been made from the inside. So something had happened and made the skiers cut their way out of the tent and flee into the night in a howling blizzard in 20 below 0 temperatures and bare feet or socks.
Also, why are you sleeping like that?
Yeah, why? if you're these people are like a lot of them are supposed to be like experts of like the wilderness. So I've seen like the movie Everest and documentaries. You're supposed to sleep in like
Long johns or something.
really, yeah, long johns and like warm clothing, especially back in the 50s when
They don't have an
didn't have the
REI.
technology, right? They didn't they didn't have an REI. They didn't have, like, the coats that we have nowadays. They're, like, certified to keep you warm at those temperatures. Like, you're in bare feet or socks in your underwear, and you're cutting out of your tent, like
Yeah. My first inclination, werewolf. Okay, go on.
also, like, if they cut their way out because they were scared or whatever, they weren't running, they were walking. So and you say werewolf, I'm thinking, like, Yeti, um,
Maybe.
'cause
Yeah, I
Yeti
guess.
um, so they were still,
But why are they walking?
uh wait, why are they walking? Yeah. There were 4 bodies that remained missing, and they were found in early May when the snow began to melt, and a hunter and his dog came across some remains of a makeshift snow den in the woods 250 feet from the cedar tree. So 250 feet from where the other people were found, they found this snow den.
Okay,
Um,
that's not even that far.
yeah, not that far at all. It's like, okay, I can't really gauge feet, like, yeah, that's not far at all.
Yeah, I'm like 500 me. I don't know.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'3". I round down.
So,
I'm 5 foot.
yeah, okay. 2,500. Well, that's yeah.
I don't know.
Um,
Yeah, I'm a little ill.
a little a little ill. Okay, so, uh, so, yes, here we go. So they found them a makeshift snow den in the woods, a floor of branches laid in a deep hole in the snow. Pieces of tattered clothing were found strewn about. Black cotton sweatpants with the right leg cut off, the left half of a woman's sweater. Another search team arrived and, using avalanche probes around the den, brought up a piece of flesh. Um, Excavation of the area uncovered the 4 remaining victims lying together in a rocky stream bed under at least 10 feet of snow. Uh, Autopsies revealed catastrophic injuries to each of them. Uh, Thibault's skull was fractured so severely that pieces of his bone had been driven into his brain. Zolotov and Dumanina had crushed chests with multiple broken ribs, and the autopsy reported a massive hemorrhage in the right ventricle of Dubina's heart. The medical examiner said the damage was similar to what is typically seen as the result of an impact of a car moving at a high speed. Yet none of the bodies had external penetrating wounds, though Zolotarov's missing his eye, and Dubinina was missing her eye, her tongue, and part of her upper lip.
What? What?
Um,
That's intense.
yeah,
I Okay, so the bone that was like lodged into his head was his own like skull.
his own
I was
skull
thinking it was another part of his bone, and I was like, wow, this sounds like Deadpool.
with Wolverine.
Yeah, yeah, I just watched that. Yeah, so okay, that makes a lot more sense. I can bring it back. These are real people, but holy cow, like I cannot. That is intense. And then why are they missing eyes and tongues?
Now, I wonder, and I don't know how like how knowledgeable these people were back in the day. 7 years ago, but, like, I could see the chests being crushed by, like, 10 feet of snow. I mean, that's a lot of pressure. Like, it doesn't say whether or not it was, like, they figured out or they could figure out how like, at what point those injuries happened, like, was it post-death or before they died or, as they were dying? Because, like, if they died naturally and the snow came and just stacked on top, I could see, like, you know, pressure just being so great, it, like, collapsed their body.
Yeah, especially they're there for 4 months. I'm honestly surprised that they could tell that there were no like external injuries after four
Yeah.
months. But I guess they're like preserved in the ice. I don't know.
Side note, do you know there's, like, a billion bodies on Mount Everest? Isn't that crazy?
That is nuts. And then who ever wants to go there? Not
I
I.
think you're great. Yeah, if you wanna go to Mount Everest, you are insane. I mean, that's, like I go high up and then sled down, like, "Alright, I'm outta here, guys."
Not me. Pass. There's so many other cool places in the world. Nah, I'm good. You can have that tall mountain. Nothing.
Okay, would you do it for $500,000,000?
500 million? Yeah, because I could hire a whole team. I'd try. I probably wouldn't make it, but I'd do it.
You could buy the best stuff. I mean, not that would really help you, but,
I mean, it might. It
it
might.
might,
I
yeah.
I would lazy girl it the whole way up. Yeah,
Um,
the best of my abilities. I'd have my oxygen tank, but yeah, you'd have to pass by all the bodies, and I wouldn't love that.
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
can't,
That was
like
the first thing about hiking.
yeah, I don't know, I just can't imagine, like, going up there, like, struggling to breathe, and then, like, seeing these, like, perfectly preserved frozen bodies just chilling on the slope.
I don't do well with the cold either.
No. I love the cold, but you stick me in the cold for that long, I'm done. It loses
Yeah,
its love.
yeah. I don't love the cold. Mm-mm. I could deal with it with enough jackets, and I like looking at it, but no, no, thank you. 500 million though. I think I could figure it out. Get
Uh,
creative.
that's a that's a lot of dough. Um, so there are a couple theories, and some other weird notes to note here. So 5 of the students appear to have died from hypothermia, is one of the other causes they've just discovered, which can cause erratic behavior and paradoxical undressing. Um, they feel you feel like you're so hot that you need to take everything off even though you're gonna freeze to death. Um, that is one theory that happened to them. Um, and then other theories about reasons why that their body parts are missing, so like the eye, the tongue, is that animals came by and ate, those body parts. I don't know if I believe that because, I mean, maybe, but why did the animals then leave the rest of the body? Like,
And why did they leave them in a row?
yeah. You would've expected, at least I would've, like, them separated, like, dragged apart, like, maybe, like, an arm over here, you know, their body over here, and, like, one person over there.
Yeah, yeah, I'm confused by that. Honestly, going back to the Yeti, I'm like, that kind of sounds believable. I'd go with Yeti. Seems more sophisticated. Like there's some thought put into it. Um, yeah, I don't know. And they don't like people being on their mountain, hence the name.
Yeah. Uh, and also, why did one of the guys bite off his own flesh?
Oh God, I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know. Can feeling like the really hot taking your clothes off, and he's like, can that lead to
It's like,
that?
"Bite me."
Yeah,
I don't know. I
I don't know.
that hysteria, or maybe it was like maybe he got I don't know. Maybe he his friend was hungry. I don't know if that makes you hungry.
Well,
Can
did they had the supplies, right?
Yeah, everything was in their tent. So why would you
Abandon
need to
that to go. I don't know. None of this makes any sense.
um yeah, so there was that. The other theory that a prosecutor had was that there was an avalanche that happened. So they call it the slab avalanche theory. In 2019, Russian government reopened the incident case, and Andrei Kurov, the prosecutor who led a new investigation, proposed a slab avalanche theory. The slope on which the hikers planted their tent wasn't steep enough to suggest there had been a traditional avalanche, but he theorized that it was still possible for a slab of snow to slide out over the tent. That might have caused the hikers to fear a larger avalanche was imminent and could explain why they cut their way out of their tent and run away without grabbing their boots. Um, he speculates that the hikers ran to what they thought was a safe distance from the tent, started a fire, and dug a snow den. And the snow den collapsed on the hikers inside, causing those severe injuries. And then scavenging animals could have eaten their eyes and tongue. Um, but again, my problem with that theory is that they said in the original investigation they weren't running, they were walking.
Yeah, they were walking. Um, and the being in a row, like, yeah, maybe their snow didn't collapse on them, but then what would have just eaten those parts of their body when they're buried in the snow, 10 feet under? I don't know what creatures there are in this area of the world, but I don't know.
Yeah, my brain
Interesting.
goes to like bears, wolves, yeti, and like maybe foxes. But again, those guys don't leave much of the body like that. So I don't know why they're just like, hey, let's just grab an eye and leave.
Yeah, let's get a tongue. Like, I don't know, it just seems interesting. It doesn't, especially like, let me dig 10 feet under to get this and then leave the rest.
Now, the most interesting part of the whole entire investigation and the incident is that some of the hikers' clothing contained traces of radiation, which fueled speculation that the hikers had died in some kind of weapons testing disaster. Um,
What?
yeah. So now that's weird. There is a plausible explanation that could help say why there's radioactivity on their clothes. 2 years before, there had been a nuclear incident known as the uh, Kayishtim disaster, and one of the hikers on the trip had lived in the contaminated zone, and another had helped the cleanup. So maybe, but like that's 2 years after the fact, and only two of them, so all of them have, or not all, some of them had um, radiation. So like that's 2 years later. I don't know if that sticks around that long.
Yeah, it's 2 years later, and like, they're only 4 days in. These people that suffered that, I'm guessing with cleanup, like that, they were probably out there longer, like more exposed. And when it actually happened, I don't know. That feels interesting, but also strange. Like, well, is there any way for us to even know? Like, who goes and regulates Russia?
Right? Yeah, it's they're like, I mean, to Russia's credit, they say, "Nope, did not happen. We didn't do that. Wasn't us." But
Say that too. Likely story.
likely story. I so That is the story. I read it. I've heard it before, and then actually read through the entire thing, and it's filled with like inconsistencies, craziness, and maybe like the crime scene gathering was not as good back in the 50s, not as accurate, and like moving the tent and moving the bodies actually, you know, damaged evidence and damaged what actually happened or the ability to see what happened, but it
But
was really
also, why
weird to
was
me.
there bits of flesh in the tree?
Yeah, I'd like to these all these like theories glaze over like, okay, if they were scared, they were running, but no, they were walking. Okay, but why is there flesh in the tree? Like, if you say that they ran to the tree, but only 3 or 2 of them did, they tried to climb up and they fell, like,
And then the other, excuse me, the other four made it 250 feet and then just laid down, but they were walking. I don't know. None of it makes any sense. That's a true mystery. I think that this is either paranormal or Yeti. I don't think there's any real explanations here. And the whole like digging themselves out of the tent in their underwear because their clothing was left back at the tent, right? Pretty sure
mhm.
that was yeah. So they would have had to have like the hypothermia hallucinations back at the tent, which somehow the slab of snow went over the tent. I don't know. It's all sketch. It's all sketch. I
Yeah.
think that they were doing drugs in the tent. And no, because they were supposedly experienced and they were really trying to make it on this ski trip. Although you brought some weird characters with you if you were trying to make it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I just
Paranormal.
it just it yeah, it makes none of it makes any sense, like, again, go back to the animals eating the bodies, like, so they ate the ones that are buried in the snow, but the ones that were just laying out in the open, they didn't eat them,
Yeah.
like,
Well, they didn't get to them. They like, because that was, they were found right away. Within that 4 months, something else happened. I'm so confused. Yeah. And in that 4 months, how can you not tell, or how can you tell for certainty that they had no like puncture wounds or anything like that?
my theory is, yeah, either Yeti or, like, everything we know that Russia has, like, released in this incident is, like, completely fabricated. All of it's made up by the government, and, like, there was some kind of radiation thing happening. I'm even, maybe would say that they didn't get very far into the hike and, like, maybe came across some kinda weapons testing, and then, no, 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 you can't do that. Now you die."
That sounds most plausible, honestly. Otherwise, it's Yeti or paranormal for me.
I like
No,
the
no,
Yeti idea,
no.
though.
Me too. I mean, I don't know why. I think that uh, it's both scary and it's far enough away that I like it.
When I was a kid, I used to read all these books on, like, Bigfoot and, like, Yeti and all these monsters, and one of the stories that stuck with me was that, the Bigfoot in this particular book, he would steal pies off of, old ladies' windowsills. So you bake the pie, you put it on the windowsill to cool, and he'd come up and just, like, grab the pie and take it and run away. So, like, I was always afraid to, like, leave a pie out in the open like that because here comes
Well,
Bigfoot.
who leaves their pies in windowsills, anyways?
That's true. That is also, I lived in, like, suburbia where there were no woods.
Yeah, I grew up in San Diego, so yeah, I think I was all for Bigfoot, and then I moved to Oregon. And I'm like, don't like that as much these days. But I hear he doesn't live around the area that I live in. Like he lives like either more south or Washington. I'm okay with that.
That
We know everything's in
that
Washington.
da damn Washington, always up to no good. Always up to no good. Yeah, Yeah. We don't really have woods out here, but, like, I'm on TikTok live, like, once a week, and I'm sitting outside, and I swear to God, I hear, like, rustling around in my backyard, and I can't see anything 'cause it's pitch black. I'm like, "Who the fuck is here? Is it
I
somebody? Is it
know.
a ghost?"
That happened when I came into one of your lives, and yeah, I was scared for you. It's weird that it's still happening.
Yeah. It's quite odd. We do have, like, a cat, the neighbor's cat, but, like, it sounded like a bigger although one time I did see a coyote back there randomly, so
That's scary. That goes back to my
yeah.
werewolf theory. Yeah, I wouldn't be a fan of that. My aunt and uncle watch my daughter sometimes, and we'll like stare out into this piece of land that's behind their land, and they'll be like, "Is that the bobcat?" And I did see it out there once. There's a single bobcat that just like lives out there, and I'm like, "Is it safe for the kids to be playing out here?" I didn't grow up around bobcats. I grew up around like raccoons.
Raccoon.
Yeah,
Uh,
possums.
I saw this video a couple
Oh
months
god.
ago where this guy, who was living in a tribe on the reservation, he was recording what he heard in the woods, and it's like this really intense laughing, sound, and I really wish I could play it, and I'll send you the video, but, it's really creepy. It kinda sounds like a bobcat, but, like, way bigger and way more intimidating than the bobcat.
Yeah, it's like more mischievous.
And I think they had a name for it, what they called it. It was like, "This is like" it was some name that obviously I probably can't pronounce. I'm not gonna even bother trying to pronounce and embarrass myself that way, but
TikTok has been on the you don't whistle when you're at the Appalachian Mountains. And that has been really eerie. I'm just looking up all of these like don't whistle out there stories. That's what it reminds me of. Like something's calling out to you. No, thank you.
and I would be the one to whistle. I would do it.
I know you would. I just have to see what happens. They're like, you don't whistle after dark, but like most people just don't whistle when you're out there.
So it's this one was from the Umatilla Reservation, and if I did not pronounce that correctly, I am so sorry. Um,
Where is that?
it's,
Walla Walla?
yeah, near Walla Walla.
Oh no. I love the Walla Walla onions.
Here, I'll
Also,
send you
I
this one.
like
There you
how much I've been talking. This is like the runniest my nose has been. Sorry about that, guys. Okay.
January 21st, about 11 p.m. I'm a couple hundred feet from my house, and you hear it going off in the background right now. Kind of sounds weird. Uh, kind of sounds doggish, hyena-ish, but you can hear it going off in the background right now. It's really kind of strange, just to say the least. It's been going off for about 15, 20 minutes so far.
It does sound like
At
a
the fire
hyena.
station.
go. Right?
And it's pretty crazy, so if you can listen, that'd be crazy. Hold on.
Okay, I hate that. I hate that. I'm never working at night. I don't want to be in the res at night.
Like, can you imagine you're out camping, even if it's not on
Nope.
the res, like, anywhere, and, like, that's what you hear? Like,
Anywhere. Nope. Nope. I hate that. I hate that so much. Thinking about the times that I've been camping, like the last time was in a pretty remote part of Washington, and the whole time leading up to actually camping, I was so freaking scared. Like I've been camping before, normally like kind of towards the coast in more southern Oregon, and like I felt safe there because it's a lot of campgrounds around a lot of other families, and we always went 4th of July weekend and it's super super busy. But that time I didn't know what to expect. I just knew that I wasn't going to have service. I was taking my kids. everything was heightened. I was so scared. That was too close to this area. Too close. And people go skiing out here. So it ties into the first story. Nope. I hate it.
Nope. Before we end the pod, I am going to send you one more sound that actually takes place in Texas,
Oh, thank
about
God.
3 years ago. So it's very far from you. It is not a laughing hyena, but I think it's a little more terrifying.
It's coming from the sky. That made my blood like scared. I could feel the shivers in my body.
That happened 4 years ago in Texas. An entire town heard that. I don't know how long it was going on for, but it was like a lot of people heard it, and it was just screaming. And apparently, the it the government says in the area that it was like a busted like valve steam pipe for some local factory that was going off. But like fact that it was heard that wide in the entire town is weird. So people have speculated that maybe it's like one of those things that the government was testing, like kind of like in the Vietnam War, where they had like the moaning sounds in the forest. They tried to, you know, freak out the Vietnamese. Like maybe it's one of those things they're testing on the area and seeing how people reacted.
Wow. No, I hate that. If I heard that, I don't know what I would do. I would hide in the closet, probably. Like with my whole family.
Would
No.
you, if you had a choice, if you're out in the woods camping and you heard that noise, or would you rather hear that noise or the hyena, bobcat, whatever laughing?
I don't know. I guess the bobcat hyena thing. It's more Bigfoot country, and I heard that Bigfoot like just throws rocks and kind of keeps their distance. So I would rather take my chance with that than whatever that was. That was terrifying. Just like a blood. That's if I'm having a really, really, really bad time at life. I am going down a highway. I'll let out a blood curdling scream. It kind of sounds like that, but if the sky was screaming back at me, no, get me out of there. There's not enough sour candy in the world.
Oh my god. Yeah, that terrified me. When I heard that, I was like, "Oh my god, holy shit!" But
I've been shaking my foot ever since. Like I'm like, I want to go home and get my fuzzy blanket.
also didn't help that you had I had your phone on full volume, and then it sounded
Yeah.
right away. It was
Well, the last one I had to kind of turn it up to hear, but whoa, you did not have to turn that one up. Yeah, that sounds like anguish coming from the sky. Oh, that's a lot. Yeah, I'm like, I'm probably shaking the whole car.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Again, if you are Russian or you're Native American, and I butchered any of the names I talked about, don't kill me. Don't come after me.
Sorry.
Just tell me, and I will strive to pronounce them correctly next time if you give me the correct pronunciation, because I don't want to hurt your feelings or anyone's feelings. So,
We'll have a couple of minutes at the next podcast where we just sit there and say how you say it for real because messed it up that bad. And then we'll also help each other.
and then moving forward, I will not pick stories with names that crazy. So, um, but yes, everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.